Hi, today we will talk about V2X in electric vehicle system. Generally, what does this mean V2X? In electric vehicle system, V2X means vehicle to everything. So what is this vehicle to everything? V2X meaning vehicle to everything is the overarching term for transferring the electricity stored in electric vehicle batteries to the grid, buildings, houses, and other energy consuming destination. In a very simple word, what will happen? V2X means vehicle to everything. So in that system, your vehicle will be having some energy storage system. So generally in all electric vehicle, we have a battery pack, and that battery pack is a energy storage system. So what will happen whenever you need to charge your vehicle, you will be charging your vehicle. Once it get full charge, then after that, if required, you can act as a energy supplier. Your vehicle will act as a energy supplier to your home, to your way, to other vehicle, to grid, and to any load. Okay, and that is called vehicle to X. Okay, V2X. So we will see what comes in this vehicle to everything segment. Generally, we have vehicle to home, vehicle to vehicle, vehicle to grid. So this means you can be able to supply from vehicle to grid. You can be able to supply from vehicle to vehicle. You can able to supply the energy from vehicle to home. Okay. So in further slides, we will talk in detail about this vehicle to everything systems. In general, we have vehicle to grid, vehicle to H means home, vehicle to load, and vehicle to farm, which is other synonyms for the V2X. These terms designate the different destinations for the electricity drawn from the connected electric vehicle battery. So first one we have V2G, vehicle to grid. So what will happen in vehicle to grid? The power grid use stored electric vehicle electricity to balance the load during high demand periods. Avoid the need to increase generation capacity to meet increased demand to power electric vehicles. It was the first use case for the vehicle 2X, and the terms are often used interchangeably. So what does this mean? So what will happen? Suppose for example, there is a locality, any we are considering Indore. There is a city called Indore, okay, and Indore is having a in general power demand of 500 megawatt. We are just taking an example. In general, Indore is having a power demand of 500 megawatt. So what will happen? And there is a in somewhere outskirts of the Indore, there is a power plant, okay, electricity power plant, which is capable of 500 megawatt, okay, which is capable to generate the electricity for of 500 megawatt. Now what happened? Suppose there is a peak time. What is peak time? Suppose in the evening, when everyone starts coming to home, coming to leaving from work and coming to their home in evening, all the lights and all usually get started. So in general, in daytime we have fan, AC, all those things have been switched on, but lights are switched off. Suddenly, when evening starts, we switch down each and every home, each and every offices, each and every building. The lights get switched on. So suddenly there is a high demand of electricity. There is a surge demand in electricity, and that's called peak demand. That's called peak time for the electricity grid. Okay, and at that time, that peak time, suppose for example, I told you ki the in general energy demand for the indoor city is 500 megawatt, and at peak time suppose it is 600 megawatt. So that rest of the 100 megawatt, where it from where it will come? The grid will not be able to supply because the power plant is only capable of 500 megawatt. Okay, so for rest of 100 megawatt will not be able to supply. Okay, and in those scenario, what generally the power grid used to do, they used to cut off the electricity from different sources. Like sometimes they cut the electricity for industrial area, for some time they cut the electricity for some remote area. Okay, and in that manner they used to balance. So somewhere they have to cut the electricity. Okay, either it is residential area, it is or it could be industrial area, or it could be for the farmers, the farm load. Anywhere they have to, somewhere they have to cut the power supply to balance this peak demand. Okay, so what will happen in vehicle to grid system? Suppose, for example, in Indore city, we discussed there is a 500 electric vehicle. Okay, there is a 500 electric vehicle, and now what will happen? They have charge. They have charge, and they store the energy in the form of chemical energy inside their battery. Now, what will happen at the peak time, at the peak load time? All these 500 vehicle will connected to the grid and start supplying the energy to the grid to fulfill the peak power demand, to balance the peak power demand for the grid, and that's called vehicle to grid. I hope you all are able to understand. So in place of taking the electricity from the grid, we are supplying the electricity to the grid from our electric vehicle at the peak time. Okay, and that's called vehicle to grid system. Next one we have V2H, vehicle to home. Sometimes we call it vehicle to building as well. So vehicle to home transfer power from park electric vehicle, like in your home nearby, or in the basement where the parking area and all is there. There all the electric vehicles are there, and those park electric vehicles supply the power, transfer the power to the building power management system during peak load time or power outages. Like there is, suppose there is a energy shutdown, there is a power failure, there is a power breakage, there is a power outages. At that time, this electric vehicles will supply the electricity to the home, to the building, while ensuring that the electric vehicle will be having sufficient charge at the end of the workday, and that's called vehicle to home. Okay, or vehicle to building. Next one we have vehicle to vehicle. Suppose, for example, there are two friends and both are having IC engine, both are having IC engine based bike, and both are going for a trip. Okay, in between, suppose one friend get out of the fuel. Okay, now what will happen? He will request to his friend ki, okay, please give me some fuel to reach to my nearest fuel station. So what will happen? Generally we remove the pipe from the fuel tank, take the some fuel in a bottle, and then we fill the tank, and then we can go to the nearest fuel station, we can fuel up. Similarly, in electric vehicle also, suppose there are two vehicles and one get discharged, completely discharged, and he needs some electricity. So what could be happen? He can ask someone who is having the electric vehicle to supply some energy to him, so that he can continue his journey, and that could be possible by V2V, vehicle to vehicle. This is another way to transfer power between electric vehicles, including car, trucks, buses, scooters, and electric bicycles. V2L, vehicle to load. Vehicle to load means that using a DC to AC inverter and AC powered outlet, the electric vehicle battery can power plug-in electric devices, equipments, and appliances. It could be any devices, any appliances, like your washing machine, fridge, AC, anything you can power by your electric vehicle. Last one we are having V2F, vehicle to farm. This vehicle to farm encompasses vehicle to home and vehicle to load types of application in a farm environment. So what could be happen? Suppose in a remote area, in a very remote area where power supply is not there, and you have a huge farmland, and you have to do some irrigation, or you have to run some machine to do some, pesticide spray and all. At that time, what could be happen? You can supply the electricity from your electric vehicle to those equipment to fulfill your energy demand. Similarly, suppose you are living in your farm is in such a area. Suppose due to some reason, due to some unforeseen reason, there is a electricity outages, and it's very important, very necessary to do some farm work, and which requires some electricity, which requires some energy. At that time, you can supply you can fulfill those demand by your electric vehicle. Okay, and that's called V2F. So what is the next technology required for vehicle to X V2X? So suppose I am taking an example. There is a mobile phone. Okay, and there is a charger. So there are fast charger for the mobile phone. Now there are fast charger for the mobile phone, and you have two mobile phone. Which one which is made for the fast charging, one which is made for normal charging, which is not made for the fast charging. And suppose you connect your normal mobile phone to the fast charger, would it be able to fast charge itself? No. Why? Because that smartphone, that mobile phone is not made for the fast charging. Similarly, for the V2X, the vehicle should be enabled for vehicle to grid system. Okay, just like if you are having a normal phone which is not made for the fast charger, then even though if you are having the fast charger, the mobile will itself will not get the fast charge. Similarly, if even though if you are an electric vehicle and that electric vehicle is not enabled for the vehicle to grid system, then it will not be it will not be able to compatible with the V2X system. Second, we need a bi-directional charger. What is bi-directional charger? For example, if you are having a mobile phone or you are having a charger, whenever you connect the mobile phone, the charger takes the electricity from the socket and supply that to your mobile phone. It never happen the mobile phone starts supplying to the socket. It never happen because that charger is not made for that. It is only unidirectional charger. It can only take the electricity from the socket and supply to mobile. It is not made for taking the electricity from mobile and supplying to the socket. Okay, it is not a bidirectional charger. Similarly, in electric vehicle, the V2X system will work only when your charger is bidirectional. If it is unidirectional charger, it will not be happen. If it is a bidirectional charger, then only it will happen. Okay. Then third one, next one we have communication link. We need a communication link between charger and vehicle using a vehicle to grid compliance. Okay, and there are different vehicle to grid compliances. So, for example, ISO 15118, OCPP 2.01. Okay, so 2.0.1, these all are some protocols which we help us to establish a communication between your vehicle and the grid. Okay, and this is required to establish a communication link between your charger, vehicle, and the grid. Okay, then next last one, we need a smart charging control system that supports the vehicle to grid system. Okay, so these all things required to enable your vehicle for the V2X. Okay, so what technology required for V2X? As we discussed, a vehicle that can support V2X can export energy from its battery to the charger without doing damage to either, and it is equipped to do so. The earliest V2G enabled electric vehicles on the market support the CHAdeMO protocol. So in till now what was happening in early days, the vehicle, this CHAdeMO protocol, the CHAdeMO is one of the charging protocol, one of the charger. So this CHAdeMO protocol is made in such a way कि your vehicle could get connected to the grid and you can supply the energy to the grid from your electric vehicle. Okay. Now, apart from CHAdeMO protocol, there are few recent protocols have been made in America and Europe, like ISO 15118 and OCPP 2.0.1, which are mature in their support of vehicle to everything system. More car makers will be comfortable adopting the technology. Okay. What does vehicle to grid technology works? How does this work? Okay. So I told you, see, in a vehicle to grid system enabled car, enabled vehicle, you are having a bidirectional charger. This means they can both charge and discharge the energy. When charging, the battery stores the energy for use for the later usage. Okay, and when discharging, while you need to discharge your electric vehicle, the energy used to drive your car. Apart from that, you can also discharge your vehicle to your home, to your grid. to your building, to your farm equipment, or to other loads. And that's called vehicle to grid system. Okay. The benefits of discharging to the grid is earn extra income from discharging to the grid. Reduce your energy bills by using within your home. It reduces the demand required from the national grid at peak times. Okay. Now you will question me कि how I can earn extra income by this V2X system, by this V2 grid system. Okay, vehicle to grid system. So generally what happen, whenever you have to charge your vehicle, at that time there will be some normal tariff. The electricity tariff will be some normal, because you will be charging your vehicle. Normally you will be charging your vehicle at a normal load time. Now at peak time, generally at peak time, the tariff is very high. Okay, and generally this at the peak, when there is a peak demand of the electricity, at that time the tariffs are very high. And what will be happening in your electric vehicle, you will be charging at low tariff time, and you will be giving the electricity, you will be supplying the electricity to the grid at a higher tariff time. So the differences of the this tariff will act as a income for you. Okay, so in this way, you can earn some extra income by discharging to the grid. Okay. So to take the advantage of vehicle to grid, you will need a vehicle to grid bi-directional smart charger, which sends power both to your car battery and then back out from your car battery to your home, to the grid, to the load, or many things. Okay. So this is a diagram. So you can see there how it happens. There is a grid. It supply the energy to your home, and then you charge, or to the grid, and then you charge your vehicle either from this charging station or from the home. Okay. Now when there is a demand from the other sources, like from grid, from home, from building, or from other load, you can connect your vehicle to this control centers. Okay, and then that control unit, that control center will supply this power to your home, to your grid, or to other loads and all. Okay. So in this image, I will help you to make you understand again how this vehicle to grid technology works. So initially, suppose for example, there is a somewhere, this is outskirts of the city where electricity generates. This is a, suppose this is a thermal power plant, some wind power plant is there, some solar power plant is there, and electricity produces here, and via some transition line, it reaches to the electricity demand area, like it reaches to the consumer. Suppose this is a indoor city, this city is indoor. Okay, so now what will happen ki in general time there is a demand and there is a supply, and this will be balanced. Now suppose there is a high demand, which this power plant will not be able to fulfill. Okay, there is a some peak time, peak demand is there. So rest, like suppose for example I told you, say this is this the general requirement of this city is 500 megawatt, and this power plant is also 500 megawatt. So it will be able to supply the energy in general load time. Now suppose there is a peak time of, suppose for example at peak time the demand is 600 megawatt. So rest of the 100 megawatt will be fulfilled, will be balanced by the vehicle to grid system. So you can see there is a various vehicle to grid chargers are there. So all the vehicles have been connected, and those are parallelly supplying the energy to the you know this city. So in this way, we can balance the grid frequency, we can balance the power demand and supply. Okay, and that is called vehicle to grid system, and this is the way the vehicle to grid technology works. Okay, what do I need to be vehicle to grid ready? Okay, before going to that, one more point I want to discuss. Apart from these all benefits, one more benefit is there for the vehicle to grid system. Suppose, for example, in due to any unforeseen reason, due to any unforeseen circumstances, the power plant, there is a failure in power plant, there is a power outage, there is a power break. Okay, so at that time complete city will be in darkness. Okay, so at that time your electric vehicle could act as a, emergency power supply system for the city, for your home, for your building, or for other demanding consumers. Okay, so this is the one of the major benefit of the vehicle to grid system. What do I need to be vehicle to grid ready? So you should be having an internet connection and a smartphone which help you to make say communication between your vehicle and the grid. It will make help you to establish a communication between your vehicle and the grid. Okay, in order to remotely control when, for how long your vehicle to grid smart charger point charge your car, or you, to enable you the communication technology between your charging point, battery, and your energy supplier. Okay, so when to charge your battery, when to charge your car, when to discharge your car. So each and every time you will not be going to parking area, you will not going to your car and do those things. So you need a smartphone. Each and every electric vehicles nowadays is connected with the smartphone, and you need a proper internet connection, so you can able to control when to charge your electric vehicle, when to discharge your electric vehicle. Okay, and it will also enable you to establish a communication technology between your charge point, your battery, your energy supplier, and your vehicle. Okay, next one, vehicle to grid enable electric vehicle. As I told you, he, suppose there is a mobile phone which is not made for fast charging. Although you are having a fast charger, your mobile will not get fast charge. Similarly, if you are having an electric vehicle and there is a no that is not enabled for the vehicle to grid system, then it will not work. To enable for it, the vehicle should be enabled for the vehicle to grid system, and there should be a bi-directional charger. This means they can both charge and discharge the energy. Okay, so as I told you earlier as well, so currently a CHAdeMO protocol is there, CHAdeMO charger are there. Those all are compatible with the vehicle to grid system. Okay, so as of May 2021, some vehicles which are compatible with the CHAdeMO chargers are Nissan Leaf, Mitsubishi Outlander, Toyota Prius, Tesla Model S, Nissan ENV200, Kia Soul EV, Citroen Berlingo Electric, Citroen C0, LEVC London Taxi. These all are vehicles which supports the CHAdeMO protocol, and they can be used as a vehicle to grid system. Vehicle to grid compatible smart charge point. I told you why this smart charge point is required. Ki you can't be able to connect your vehicle directly to the grid. Okay, you need a charging point, a smart charging point, where you will be connect your vehicle to to that smart charging point, and that smart charging point is connected to the grid. Okay, you can't be able, you will not be able to connect your vehicle directly to the grid. You need some communication protocol, you need some intermediary between them, and that intermediate is a smart charging point. So a vehicle to grid a smart charge point is compatible with vehicle to grid ready electric vehicle. Its smart technology allows you to communicate with its via an app, so you can control how and when the surplus energy from your battery is deployed. Okay, it also allows communication with your energy supplier, which is necessary for grid services. What does this mean? This means ki the full control of your vehicle will be in your hand. How much current I will be supplying, at what rate you will be supplying, those all are in your hand. So that, suppose for example you are having an electric vehicle, you took your car, you go to your office and park your vehicle to the parking area. Now there is some peak demand, and you control your vehicle, you allow your vehicle to discharge to the grid, but you will be need some electricity to go to your home back from your office, right? So for those all scenario, for those all situation, it will be saving some energy. So these all control will be in your hand. कि, okay, now this is only 30% charge. Now I will not be supplying the current to the grid. I will not be supplying the energy to the grid. So now I will stop. Okay. So those all will be in your hand. And last one, कि a vehicle to grid energy supplier is required. So the energy supplier will have to do some development in terms of infrastructure to do this vehicle to grid system. So that infrastructure based this vehicle to grid energy supplier will be required. So thanks for that, thanks for this session.